Welcome to the podcast Your Turn, Make Your Mark in Design, the program that helps you to take action as a designer. I'm Miros.
And I'm Remke. We are at the campus of the Delft University of Technology. Join us today to discover how you can become smart designers. Designers that use test results to adapt designs into excellent designs.
Hi, Dorca, Bea, and Nico. Welcome to our studio.
We are students of the International School Delft, and we are here in the studio to share our design experiences.
Right. A week ago, we did a design challenge, and now we are going to share it with you. We will also explain the design challenge we did, so you can do it at home on your own or with friends or family members.
Design is about solving a problem. When you find a problem and create a new object that can solve the problem. The problem or challenge for you today is inspired by a book that was written long ago. It's a book by Giovanni Boccaccio called Decameron, if you want to read it. In our story, there's a plague, and 10 people go 100 days in quarantine. Each day, one person has to tell a story. Of course, they want to bring food along to the island, an island located far away in the Great Sea.
The first question, if you're listening, is to think about the favorite food that you want to take along this great journey.
What did you select? Apples, carrots, bananas, pasta, or avocados?
We want to make a food carrier that is able to carry as much food as possible.
Any designer wants a test if it's possible. Why not join us and look for a bucket of water to represent the sea, or use your kitchen sink so you can test your food carrier ideas.
Look for some stones or marbles to represent the food, or use some grapes or some other small objects. We are going to use them to test how much of the food carrier design can hold without sinking.
You can take a piece of normal paper or tear a piece of newspaper or just old paper lying around that you don't need anymore. Put it flat in the bucket with water. Now you have your first prototype of the food carrier. Test it and watch what happens.
Our paper carrier gets wet. I just managed to put one marble on it, but it sank quickly.
It doesn't work, but our test is successful. Normal paper is not a good material to build a safe food carrier. It gets soaked too easily. We should look for other materials. Let's try wood, aluminum foil, and make different food carriers.
To our listeners, have a look and spot what kind of materials you have at home that might work when you try to build a food carrier. Remember, it should hold as many marbles as possible. Maybe you have some clay, glass, plastic. This is the time for you to look around and fetch what you need. Don't forget to continue listening to the podcast when you go to another room for materials or water.
Oh yes, and there is an important rule while testing the food carrier. It should not contact the bottom of the bucket or container, but float around.
Here's my first idea. I will use the tin foil and keep it completely flat, so it's a sort of raft.
I will mold the foil a bit and make a sort of bowl. Let's take a similar piece of tin foil with the same size so we can compare the shapes.
Here's the first marble going on my carrier. Let's count together.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Your flat food carrier can hold 11 marbles.
Let's compare it with yours. The size of the foil was similar, but because you molded it, your surface is less.
Maybe it will contain less marbles?
Or maybe more, because I saw a lot of water that came in the flat flood carrier, and the borders of my bowl carrier may prevent that. Or am I too optimistic?
It's very handy what you're doing, Dorca. You're thinking about different explanations of what is going to happen. Number 1 is the idea that the molded carrier can carry less marbles because the surface is smaller.
Sounds logical, and the other explanations that we have is this one, because the food carrier is molded. Water will not enter the carrier and it can hold more marbles, even with a smaller surface.
Testing time! Here, we are really going to test it. Else?
I will put the first marbles in till number 11.
If you ever reached number 11.
Let's put it to the test. I think the molding helps to keep the water out. There are already 10 marbles in. 11, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16.
No water in yet, but the carrier goes now deeper in the water.
17, 18, 19, 20. Exciting.
Oh, no.
We won't reveal all our other designs and test results. It is more fun to discover it yourself at home.
So the challenge for you is, wherever you are, to design a food carrier that holds as many marbles and stones as possible. Why not ask a friend to join your design? You can even do it if you're in different places.
Testing helped us and will help you. We also thought that it was really fun to watch what happens when we put marbles on the food carriers.
Here you can listen to how our testing went. Observing what happens is important because you need this information to improve your design. Dorka and Bea are now observing a newly designed food carrier.
The food carrier is still stable on the water. The marbles hardly change its position.
But after these marbles, there is water creeping in. It is less stable.
Maybe we can put another 5 marbles in it, but no more.
1, 2, 3. No, it's sinking.
Too bad. This is not our best one.
After testing about 5 carriers, we put all our food carriers in order of the test results and compared them to find out what helps carry more food.
The second time that we made food carriers, I used the experience from the first test.
I made a boat out of wooden sticks, but what I didn't like is that it didn't hold together. The sticks did not stay straight and curled up. Then I made an improvement. I made only the frame from sticks and used foil. I also added paper in between. I hoped that when the water would try to enter, the paper would get wet, but that no water would enter the carrier. I did not want the carrier to sink so quickly.
I made one with a shell like a boat from tin foil because it doesn't get soaked and there's a stick that goes inside like a sail. And the paper is used to sail with the wind. I did a lot of small changes on this one.
In the end, we had a number of things that we thought worked well. We will share these on the podcast's comments. Check them out after you have been testing your own food carrier.
And I made one that could sit on the floor of the bucket, and it contained 53 marbles, as it never tilted like some of our other food carriers.
But that one didn't count as it was no longer a boat. The rules was that it should float.
We also made some carriers with very large surfaces.
And some that looked very fancy.
In the end, after testing and discussing what worked best, we had a boat that contained up to 74 marbles.
But maybe you can beat our record. Experiment with materials, shapes, and surfaces, and test various designs. Maybe a completely different design is needed.
What are the things that worked well in making a food carrier that contains lots of marbles? Put your food carriers in a row and figure it out, and then build a few other carriers. We will share our top 3 things that worked for us on the podcast. We hope that you enjoyed building and testing food carriers. Share a picture on the podcast and tell us how many marbles it could carry.
And also why it is such a good or bad food carrier.
We hope that you liked this podcast and that it made clear that testing is important.
Even when a test shows that it doesn't work, the test is helpful. You have to change something.
And it helped me to take some time to look for an explanation and use this to adapt the food carrier in the right direction.
If you have a clear goal and test it, you are becoming a smart designer.
Thanks for listening to the podcast, Your Turn to Design, the program that helps you take action thinking like a designer. Make sure to join our podcast channel and share your design with the hashtag YourTurnToDesign in the comment section of the podcast.
Bye.